The person who delivered the sugar to Kenya is known. The person who imported this sugar is known. The person who put a sticker to approve that this sugar was safe for consumption, Mr. Speaker, is known. The cartels, from the statements that have been made in the public domain, Mr. Speaker, are also known. Mr. Speaker, I'm afraid that I do not agree with the statement made that Parliament should investigate this matter, because I believe Parliament is also accused. How can we know sugar barons and we are threatening to table names instead of tabling those names? It's an embarrassment, Mr. Speaker. I personally call upon the President under Cap 102. Mr. President, this is the time to form a commission of inquiry to interrogate your government, because it is your government that is responsible. The people who have authorized this thing are sitting in government. Cartels the same. This is the only way to get the truth. When we wanted to deal with Goldenberg, because Goldenberg was called the house of cards, let me tell you, this sugar is like a house of cards for the Jubilee government. Let me tell you. You have made Kenyans consume mercury. In fact, when you think about mercury, I would rather it was dust. I would rather if it was mud. If you put mercury in water, it reacts violently. Now imagine that in the stomachs of Kenyans, young people, children, and we are threatening to table names. Shame on you, leaders. Mr. President, let's deal with this issue now and for all. Mr. Speaker, Parliament is not capable of any investigation. We can't investigate ourselves. We have been unable to investigate ourselves for the last several years, Mr. Speaker. Let the truth be told. But lastly, Mr. Speaker, this is one country. Sometimes I don't agree with the word third world, but we live in the third world. And we behave like we're in the third world. Because where people matter, the book by the gentleman called Steve Hilton, where the people matter, the minister in charge should have resigned by now. In charge of immigration, in charge of agriculture. They should have resigned, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I will not speak as angrily as Senator Malala, but Mr. Speaker, I want to say this, that the President must get rid means bump them off, of people who are destroying this country. This country is a peace-loving country. We are so innocent, but these cartels, and trust me, Senator Haji, these are very few people. They are not many. Very few people who are making illegal profits. There's a statement that was made here, and the one who responded to it the question was asked by a senator here in the last term about counterfeit Samsung phones. And from that statement, we asked the then Chief Justice Mutunga to set up a counterfeit court like happens all over the world. These sugar barons, just like the NYS scandal culprits, will be taken to court. They will be slapped with a 10,000 fee, which they can pay by M-Pesa, which they will pay, or come with checkbooks. Mr. Speaker, and in developed countries, you cannot make a profit in this manner. We call this in law usurious profit, made from illegality. Tougher action would be taken. A counterfeit court so that that person has to migrate to go to another place. If we could exile Miguna for nothing, we should exile sugar barons and send them to some place, a country that has no name. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
We need to ask ourselves very difficult questions. The first question is, we've been told that there is mercury in the sugar that is being supplied in this country. Do we have a report from the government chemist showing us that there is mercury in sugar? Who is this person who came up with the theory that there is mercury in the sugar being distributed? Mr. Speaker, a police officer does not have microscopic eyes to determine mercury in sugar. We need to have an official report from the government chemist showing that there is mercury in the sugar. Mr. Speaker, I want to assure this House that once this matter has been concluded. It will be messy, it will be noisy, and it will have casualties, Mr. Speaker. Because this matter interweaves. Even the players in the sugar industry are seated with us in this parliament. And in a week's time, Mr. Speaker, I will be tabling names of the members of parliament who are also part of the cartels ailing our country. Mr. Speaker, I beg to stop there, but I speak from a very painful position. Kakamega County depends on sugar. Why do we allow people who do not trade, people who do not plant, to be the biggest beneficiary of sugar, yet the farmer in Kakamega is not benefiting from sugar farming? We want this matter, Mr. Speaker, to be committed to the relevant committee in this House so that we can come with a speedy conclusion and unearth the truth about this sugar menace in this country. Thank you.
Senator Mutula, Kilonzo.
We have 200 importers licensed to import sugar in this country. And the process of importing sugar set by the Kenya Bureau of Standards is that once you import brown sugar, you must take to a factory or a milling processing plant to refine the sugar before you distribute. Mr. Speaker, of the 200 importers, only 6 have got milling factories. It means there are only 6 importers who refine sugar and distribute back to the market. It means 194 importers in this country are importing sugar directly without refining and distributing it. Mr. Speaker, we need to come up with regulations to allow the importers or anybody who will be licensed to import sugar in this country to must have a milling factory, or else, Mr. Speaker, we shall continue consuming contaminated sugar. Mr. Speaker, this matter needs a fair adjudication. I was surprised yesterday when I saw people who are players in the sugar industry, in the National Assembly, standing before the House and saying that they will table a list of the cartels. I want to challenge the National Assembly Majority Leader, Honorable Duale, to table that list.
Order. You're out of order, Senator Malala.
Mr. Speaker.
Can you conclude your statement? Order.
Mr. Speaker.
What's your point of order, Senator Haji?
Conduct of a member of parliament in this House. They should withdraw and apologize.
I rule you out of order. Withdraw and apologize. You cannot discuss another member of another House in this House.
Mr. Speaker, I'm not discussing that member. I am referring to the Hansard that has been...
With order, member. Can you withdraw and apologize?
Mr. Speaker, I withdraw, though I don't know how to withdraw in that. But I withdraw and apologize, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I apologize and withdraw.
Okay.
Mr.
Can
Speaker,
you conclude? Yeah.
We need to ask ourselves very difficult questions. The first question is, we've been told that there is mercury in the sugar that is being supplied in this country. Do we have a report from the government chemist showing us that there is mercury in sugar? Who is this person who came up with the theory that there is mercury in the sugar being distributed? Mr. Speaker, a police officer does not have microscopic eyes to determine mercury in sugar. We need to have an official report from the government chemist showing that there is mercury in the sugar. Mr. Speaker, I want to assure this House that once this matter has been concluded, it will be messy, it will be noisy, and it will have casualties, Mr. Speaker. Because this matter interweaves. Even the players in the sugar industry are seated with us in this parliament. And in a week's time, Mr. Speaker, I will be tabling names of the members of parliament who are also part of the cartels ailing our country. Mr. Speaker, I beg to stop there, but I speak from a very painful position.